Do you want to be a pirate king or a city governor? Well, Atlas might be the game for you. Hey, hello gamers, ladies and gentlemen, I'm VK, and in this video we're taking a look at Atlas. The new game of Studio Wildcard and Grapeshot Games, the people behind Ark Survival Evolved. Now I apologize if this video goes left and right a bit. I'm mainly covering info from the game from a PC Gamer article that they released, so I'm going to do it as the article stands, but it's a bit wibbly wobbly, so for that I'm sorry. If you've ever played Ark, the dino survival game, and thought, what if this game was with pirates, parrots, and portholes instead of dodos, duties, and dialos, then you are in the right place. In comes Atlas, a survival sandbox MMO in the style of Ark, but in a much larger world with a sea exploration guided world with things like sea ships, mermaids, sharks, cyclops, and the odd dragon. Yes, this game, just like Ark, has a few fantasy creatures thrown into the mix to keep it fresh and cool. Atlas is releasing December 19th of 2018, 5 days from the making of this video, and the idea is to capture and govern islands and to build your civilization on them. Many players and even Wildcard themselves have taken to use a combination of Ark and EVE Online as an example to what Atlas is, so you can expect a massive world many times larger than the Ark maps. In fact, in the PC Gamer article that I believe came out too early but for some reason hasn't been taken down because it's likely a planned promotion article that was intentionally released, but regardless, it states that potentially the world of Atlas could be 1200 times the size of the island, and if that's true, that's massive, but I do feel the need to say that this would be crazy to run on a single server. The article states that thousands of players would be able to play together in one space, but that large chunk of servers would be separated between servers, and I'm all for this because EVE Online does this, Starship Citizen does this, and Atlas will too. The only thing that I hope for this is that loading/rendering times from server to server, aka from region to region, are properly optimized because I don't want to wait 10 minutes just traveling out of one massive area to another. That might just be my stupidity speaking, since I don't know if this kind of system would be faster or slower, and out of experience with EVE, I must say, I'm not really sure. But yeah, Atlas is a massive world, lots of people, and Wildcard hopes that such a massive world encourages players to come across a large uninhabited region and claim it for yourselves. Now what would you be doing, you might ask? You would be establishing a government, building ships and outposts there, as well as the usual Ark experience. This means chopping trees, taming wildlife, and managing basic systems like thirst and hunger while at sea. And I would assume on land as well. And I don't know how this works, but I hope that you can store things in your ship in like a food storage area, and maybe that it stays fresh longer there than in player inventory, because this would really raise the impression of having to stock up like you need to do in Sea of Thieves. Atlas seems very different from Ark, but I want to stress that all of this is basically Ark with a massive seafaring element added to it. It's like Ark had a child with Sea of Thieves, but unlike Sea of Thieves, I expect this game to have some actual content. Ooh! Burn! As a ship's crew, you can personally man cannons, unfurl and turn sails, patch holes in your ships like in Sea of Thieves. But, and this is the coolest thing, everyone that knows me will tell you this, but I've always wanted a multiplayer game with a proper NPC system. And in Atlas, you can hire NPC crew members to boss over. So even if all your friends are offline, your island and ship could still be vibrant and full of life, and it says here that a big part of the game is recruiting crew and keeping them paid and fed so you can actually sail your ships around, and then they'd have a bunch of cool systems in the game for simplifying controls of your shipmates, and that sounds so cool to me. It sounds exactly like what I've always wanted, but of course whether or not it'll work properly we'll have to find out, but I'm more than willing to go hard on this and send feedback to Wildcard, or rather Grapeshot. And I suggest that you do the same if you buy this game. This brings us to price. The game will start off at $30 and after full release be raised to $60 for those that haven't bought it by then yet. Wildcard this time decided to say this up front because they've seemingly learned from Ark, and that's good because it now kinda gives interested parties a reason to get it before full release. Which by the way could be years down the line. And according to an Atlas representative, it could be taking 2 years or more. Back to the NPCs, the system you would use to instruct an NPC would reportedly be built off the Ark's dinosaur management system. So the little menu that opens that allows you to space, set to wander, and a lot more, and that's kinda cool. But only if you can kinda do it from a distance as well, because I don't really want to run up to everyone and tell them what to do. I mean, I don't want to go off the helm to tell the guy on the sails to raise the sails or turn them or such, but that's enough from that, but I don't think there will be a guy on the sails. In fact, I think this part will be up to us, and from what I've read, these guys will do things like man cannons and such, so you can instruct them to fire on the enemy, repel invaders, and other things. These NPCs, like I said, make the game more vibrant, more fun for solo plays, but also for groups as well. It's just fun to have a lively world. You will also be able to build bases just like you could in Ark, but you can also customize your ships to your heart's desire. At launch you will be able to choose between 5 size templates ranging from rafts all the way up to enormous galleons. Each template provides the base structure of the ship, but players are free to customize parts of it. Which is good, but it also means you can't customize all of it. Keep that in mind. PC Gamer uses the example of being able to erect a watchtower or high walls on the deck of a brigantine, and that actually sounds awesome. Just the idea of being able to build walls on them makes me go, moving sea castle? It could be potentially hundreds of hours to get the ship you want and tweak it how you want, but of course, like in Ark, if your boat gets sunk, you must head to the trunk because you'll need to start building one from scratch. So best be careful, sailors. You might not want to get in a fight with those 6 ships you see sailing that are already engaged in a cluster fudge. Everything has a risk, reward is high, punishment is severe. These are the pirate days, these are the Atlas days. Puns. Dead players can resurrect in beds hidden below deck if killed, but you need to level up your ship to be able to place more beds, so off the bat it might only be the captain that can respawn here with a few trusted seamen, and invade the other ship using grappling hooks or horses to jump over to the other ship, and I hope board hooks too. When you first start up Atlas and make a new character, you'll spawn into a free port town that doubles as a safe zone and are NPC areas, I believe. I think this is the little town area that we saw in the trailer as well, and you'll be able to get your bearings here. Learn the basics and build your first ship without being killed right away, and there isn't much of a storyline in this game. Instead of this, if you aren't really interested in all the ships and all the building and all this stuff, you really just want to do the artifact hunts like in Ark, well, there are 9 artifacts in this world. And that's pretty much the most of a storyline you'll actually find, because you'll find these 9 artifacts and with them you can summon bosses to fight them. These bosses will be demons or gods or whatever you want to call them, and I believe that getting all 9 of them together actually unlocks the main boss. But if you're just more of an explorer and you want to be, you know, a treasure hunter or something like that, you'll be happy to know that there are treasure maps that you can find from random bottles that lead you on an adventure to a nearby island to find buried treasure. But beware of other players as well as ships of the damned. These are NPC ships with a ghost crew and they'll likely want you dead so they can hire some more crew members, so to speak. Just like in Ark, you can tame and ride animals, build a nice mansion, or just go out and explore to find new areas, secrets, or rare resources to trade with others, or use up yourself if you want. The players in Atlas will eventually be able to age and die unless they find the Fountain of Youth, and they must reproduce with your player and have a child that you can take control over once it's an adult. And I'm thinking that you could create this offspring by having the sexy time with the NPCs. Maybe your marriage is in order first. Keep in mind, this feature might not be in at launch yet, or it might not be ready yet, so don't base your decision on the aging or fornication game. Eventually, land ownership will be expanded to a point where players can set laws that have to be followed in their territory, and it will eventually have micro DLC items in the way of cosmetics that can be bought and grinded for in order to help fund the cost of the development. Atlas will also run better than Ark does now, and will continue to improve as Stieglitz, the representative of Atlas, said that of course open sea is easier to render than dense jungles. So in terms of a lagometer, the larger of islands should be the peak of lag or FPS drops, whereas open sea would be less laggy. At the end of the day, we'll have to see whether or not all of this ends up to be true and if the game is even any fun, but I'm super excited to try it out and grind this game, and I hope you will be here to experience Atlas with me. Anyways, if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like on it, and if you want to see more about it, hit that subscribe button and that notification bell because I like bells. Ding! This has been VK, and I will see you next video.